It's Metal November, where we raise our horns, swing our axes for the blood of our enemies, and hear the lamentations of the women. Also playing as Jack Black across the sword and sorcery world that looks like all the heavy metal album covers I grew up with is cool too, I guess. It's been 15 years, officially on October 13th, or October 13th, whatever they called it, since Brutal Legend by Double Fine made not just one of the best, but the best game centered around heavy metal and the subculture ever made. It's also probably the only one ever made. The Kiss one doesn't count. If you know any other games like Brutal Legend that embrace metal, let me know, please. Brutal Legend is an odd masterpiece in that it is a Jack Black of all trades and a master of none. But it manages to mix all of these elements together and pull it off somehow. They did call upon the metal gods literally to make it happen, and it works. The character you play as is Eddie Riggs, the world's greatest roadie for the world's greatest metal band, Cabbage Boy.
Oh, hey, Riggs, sorry I smashed your guitar last night. What the?
It's like new.
Played by Jack Black, who surprisingly is very toned down in this game, and it's one of his better performances. It really is. Needless to say, Eddie Riggs is one day handling a show for Cabbage Boy.
You ever feel like you were born in the wrong time? Like you should have been born earlier, when the music was real?
Like the 70s?
Earlier, like the early 70s.
When one of the members decides to be dumb, he tries to rescue him. He does. A giant statue that he built falls on top of him. Some of his blood goes into the belt buckle that he wears that looks like a fucking awesome metal demon. That demon comes to life, kills everybody or doesn't, depending on if you pick censored or uncensored. That's an option here for the kids. And then he gets transported back into the most metal-looking, awesome world ever designed in a video game.
You'll never French kiss again!
What's French kissing?
It helps that the writing is good and everyone of the cast is filled out pretty well. It's part comedy, part drama, and although the story campaign can take you 7-ish hours or less, it doesn't overstay its welcome at all.
Ah! What's that? I couldn't hear you. It's like you got a lisp or something.
Over here, you foul and rotten worm.
It hits all the right notes, and it's just a solid narrative.
Come on, let's bust them out of there. Where's the gate?
There is no gate.
What?
They have nowhere to go. No idea how to function outside the pit. Society has no use for them, so they stay underground. I wish I could help them, but I mean, what do you do with a bunch of kids who don't know how to do anything but bang their heads all day long?
You start a revolution, Lars.
I was interested in this world in the start, and then I became fully invested again on this playthrough almost 2 decades later. Besides Jack Black, you have the literal metal gods themselves here, all playing parodies of themselves, which is the chrome icing on this metal cake. Ozzy Osbourne.
Demon flesh on your bumper, but that's the way the world is today, I'm afraid.
Who?
Oh, me? Oh, I'm nobody. I'm just a guardian of metal.
Oh, wow, great.
So, you want to help me fight demons and stuff?
Nah, I'm not a fighter. I'm more of, what should we say, a keeper of timeless secrets, that's all.
Lemmy.
Nah, what the hell?
Noble Killmaster, this woman...
Didn't you see the signs? We don't like visitors up here.
But she's dying.
Yeah, so what's their excuse?
Rob Halford. Lita Ford. And Tim Curry, I guess he's a metal god, and Tim Curry reprising his role as Darkness, basically, from Legend. Fun fact, Diviculus, the main villain who's played by Tim Curry, was originally supposed to be played by another metal legend, Dio, Ronnie James Dio, and he recorded all of his lines apparently, but at the last minute they brought in Tim Curry because I guess the idea sounded better on paper than in practice. Tim worked out great, of course, but if you were curious as to how Dio would have sounded, I de-pitched him during an interview to try and get an idea of what he would have sounded like as the bad guy. The rest of the cast is veteran voice actors. They all do phenomenally great jobs, most notably Jennifer Hale of Metal Gear fame. They all do really, really good.
Doviculus, they say it was the fire beast Omogodon himself?
No. Far, far worse than me. It was Socoria. I can smell her blood.
Based from a religious attitude, I have a tendency to do that a lot too, because I think that, especially the religion that I grew up with, Catholicism, has gotten itself so far behind the current current method of...
And I'm actually surprised that Ozzy has maybe the most speaking lines out of all these metal gods. Lemmy just plays himself. It's really great. And Rob Halford does a great dual performance as the Fire Baron Lord, as well as General Lionwhite, the first villain that you come across.
Lars Halford, why are you poaching my employees?
Your former slaves are revolting, Lionwhite. Just like your clothes.
We'll see about that. The more sophisticated miners have remained in my employ, as have the girls who know what's best for them. And Killmaster, even some of your own men have decided that there is profit to be made from those little spiders of yours.
Are you done talking? I'd like to get this over with.
Don't worry, this won't take too long. I know how to handle petty labor disputes.
Part hack and slash action game, part open world collectathon, part car builder simulator, part rhythm game like Guitar Hero, and finally part RTS Diet Edition. It all works for the most part. The RTS stuff in the heat of battle is clunky and the difficulty spikes can be insane, especially at the end game. The default strategy is summon a bunch of grunts and just send them over to their death attacking the other player's stage, but it usually devolves into just almost unmanageable chaos. Each group, surprisingly, isn't just a reskin of Eddie's faction. You have the Drowning Doom, or Goth and Black Metal. A lot of their attacks deal with buffing and debuffing and AoE attacks, with groups like the Rat Collars, or whatever they're called, and the Brides. The final group is the Tainted Coil. They are the industrial metal group of this little metal game, and they all buff and debuff each other. Each summon powers the other summon, and that summon can summon other summons. It's insanely overpowered, and if you're really, really good with Tainted Coil, especially in the multiplayer mode that's now dead on PC, but it's still active on consoles, I guess, then they just slaughter every single time. Summoning your troops is done in the Guitar Hero style, and combine all of that together and it makes for a more frustrating time mostly than fun endgame. It's all cool ideas, and separately they are all fine. It's when you put them all together is when the glue starts to fall apart. It's also part hack and slash, and again, it works, but it's not the best. It's very bare bones. They try and have combos, but I often ended up just button mashing for the worst, even though the combos are actually cool. It gets me thinking about a sequel that I do hope we get to see one day. I do know Tim Schafer, creator of Double Fine, everything like that, said that he wanted to do a Brutal Legend sequel after Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2's been out for a couple of years now. I don't know if Double Fine owns the rights to Brutal Legend. I doubt it. I still think it's under EA. Hopefully something will materialize. Hopefully not in the next 15 fucking years. I do think they need to pick one element and stick with it. The heavy metal RTS is such a cool idea. I wouldn't mind if Brutal Legend 2, or BLT as I like to call it, was just a full-blown RTS instead of the simple idea of an RTS. The hack and slash is cool, extending this idea to basically God of War heavy metal, and bang, you're sold, you have a sequel there, but I think you gotta pick one or the other, you know what I mean? The guitar solo idea is neat, but once is enough. I think summoning, doing the guitar solo one time and then just have it be a quick swap thing would be great. It should be a quick slot after one time for a sequel, and taking with the RTS idea, you can do that. And it just breaks my heart that this game is so unique and all these elements are cool, but they all fall so short, because there is truly nothing else like it. Hell, forget all my common ideas for a sequel. It's been 15 years. Hopefully that's long enough that they can basically perfect blending all of these together and make it work the next time. I would love if that were to happen, but if they did go one or the other route, full God of War ripoff, full RTS style like Dune Spice Wars, for example, full Guitar Hero rhythm game, maybe not that, but anything would be just great. One of the biggest inspirations for Brutal Legend was artist Frank Frazetta. The open world is perfection. That's what it is. Each biome you enter really is separate from the other one, and you could set an entire game in every single area and it would be just as good. The biggest area is the starting one. It looks the most classic metal album cover. It's also thanks to Frank Frazetta's influence, not just in the character designs, but in the world. And Brutal Legend still has one of the best art styles in any video game. Games like this, Sly Cooper, Mirror's Edge, Jak and Daxter, cartoony stuff, things with an actual art style. Dragon Age 2, for fucking example, even. That a solid art style will make a game ageless. Hell, games don't even really age except visually. A game doesn't age poorly, your tastes just change. The second and third area, an homage to Kiss with the Amazons here super hot, and a slow blending into the black metal scene with the second half of the forest, and further on, moves to the industrial metal scene depending on what part of the game you're in, no spoilers of course. I think the idea here was that you could pause the game and any frame could be used as an album cover. Hell, even the mission screens when you're starting a mission could be album covers. They even frame it like a fucking album cover. Now, why haven't I talked about the music? Well, it's really quite simple. The music is the staple of this game, honestly. The soundtrack is one of the best in video games ever, or just in general, period. And because if I played any of this music, I would just immediately get copyright striked. So if there's any music that you hear in this, it's all free licensed metal music, or just nothing at all. Please go pull up both the soundtracks, the Ambient World soundtrack, which is great, as well as all the licensed stuff from all of these great metal bands. Even if you aren't a music guy, I guarantee you Brutal Legend will turn you into a partial metalhead. It happened to a couple of friends of mine who aren't really into music, but they damn will swear on the Brutal Legend soundtrack. So 15 years later, does Brutal Legend still hold up? Unreservedly, yes. From its stellar cast to its unique but clunky gameplay, blending all the gorgeous world and art design, its music, the literal legends behind it. It is truly a legendary game at this point, and one of Double Fine's landmark achievements for somehow making it all work together. Here's to even more years of Brutal Legend and more metalheads that it can recruit to Eddie's crew, Ironhead, with an E on the end, so you know they're serious.
In honor of you guys, we're calling this new army Ironhead. With an E on the end, so people know we're not messing around.
Ironhead.
I like it.
Right on!
I don't get it.
So let's get back to Bladehenge and get this army started!
Ironhead!